Alright, this is probably going to be one of my longer Tampa Bay Buccaneers videos. I didn't really get a chance to talk about last week's game against the New Orleans Saints where we got blown out 38-3, but hey, in this Tale of Two Rival Games Part 2, I'm going to talk about that first, and then I'm going to move on to today's game against Carolina. So, as we all know, last week Tom Brady had a pretty shitty performance. 22 for 38, 209 yards for three interceptions, one of which came off a batted down screen, one of which was a miscommunication to Antonio Brown. And the one that puts Tom Brady at the most fault is one that he just chucked up in vain, hoping that somebody was there, but really there wasn't. Our defense, they stayed out for way too fucking long on the field because of Tom Brady's inconsistency in the offense. You know, and don't tell me, oh, we need to get our run game going in order to set up passing lanes because how can you run the ball when you're down 14 or 31 points by the end of the first half? How is that even physically possible? The only way you're going to be able to get back into the game is with passing, and that's what Tom Brady was trying to do. But again, the interceptions fucked him over. And what really fucked us over in the third quarter was we were on the Saints 1 yard line, and we had two plays to get into the end zone and get a score. The first one to Rob Gronkowski, a play action fake. He had a chance to haul it in, but instead he dropped it. And second pass, a 50-50 ball to Mike Evans. He let it go through his hands. I mean, it was good coverage by Marshawn Lattimore, but Mike Evans had the ball go right through his hands. He had a prime opportunity to catch it in the back of the end zone for a great fade, but he ended up dropping it. So overall, it was a pretty shitty performance. This was Bruce Arians' worst game, I think, as a Buccaneer. The only saving grace was Ryan Suckup kicked a 48-yard field goal to prevent a blowout against the New Orleans Saints. So that dropped us to 6-3. Now we go to Carolina today, and oh my God, it took a while, but our offense exploded in the second half. In the first half, we were fighting against Carolina about beat for beat. We did have one fumble that Ronald Jones lost that led to a Carolina Panthers touchdown ultimately. But hey, credit to our defense for sticking in there and giving our offense plenty of opportunities to win. And that's what they did. Ronald Jones really helped out today with a 98 rushing yard touchdown to put his totals up at the end of the game, 23 carries for 192 yards. Probably Ronald Jones' best game as a Buccaneer and probably his best in the season. He set a team record for the longest rushing touchdown. And Tom Brady, man, credit to him. He played a terrific game. He was sacked once, but he passed for three touchdowns, no interceptions. Great bounce back after the loss to New Orleans. And we definitely put pressure on Teddy Bridgewater today. Sure, he had two touchdowns, but we forced one interception with Jason Pierre-Paul. That is incredible. And outside of that, we had sacks. We had sacks galore with Shaquille Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul. Even Justin Watson came in on a fake punt and blew the snapper up. So Justin Watson, congrats on your first sack. Congrats on your first NFL sack. It might be pretty uncommon to see wide receivers with sacks, but hey, anything to help us win, I'll gladly take it. I will gladly take it. And Levante David is a stuffer in the passing game. He holds those running backs to minimum yards. Like it was fourth down. It was a pretty big moment where Carolina was down 16, right? They needed a fourth down to convert. Teddy Bridgewater passes back to his running back, Alex Arma. Levante David comes up big and just stuffs them in the backfield, force a turnover on downs for us. Outside of that, Ryan Suckup came in 4 for 4, the longest for 40 yards, give us 12 more points. And Joey Sly, man, yeah, he really. Carolina wants Joey Sly to get that kicking record, but after his botch with the 65-yarder in New Orleans and even the 67-yarder in Kansas City, I don't think he's going to get that record anytime soon. But Joey Sly, he played it pretty conservatively, kicked a 46-yard field goal to give Carolina 3 in the second quarter. But I mean, all in all, it's a really good win. And though it's not what we want to have happen, we're still in the race for the playoffs. We're up 7-3 for the NFC South. And uh, given what might happen with New Orleans and San Francisco, if New Orleans loses, we're a half game up against them again. And if San Francisco loses, we're still down a half game to New Orleans. So this can be a 50-50 game, but ultimately we're in a good position to go to the playoffs. We're in a good position in the NFC South, and considering two of our next games are against the Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Chokins, I really do not doubt that we're going to get into the playoffs. So all in all, great win for the Buccaneers. And let's hope for more of that when we face off against Los Angeles next week. Go Bucs!